Welcome back, everybody. Glad you could join me on the second Cabral HouseCall of the weekend. Yesterday was episode 3,410. Crazy that there's been that many shows, but every single day, just about a 15-minute show, 12 to 15 minutes. I like to make it easy for a commute in the car, an easy walk, just a way to be able to build up your daily integrative health and functional medicine knowledge on a daily basis. That's really what it's all about, honestly. It's just each of us learning a little bit more every day so they can better help ourselves and those people in our lives that count on us. So let's dive right into the show. First question today from Samantha. And again, I just have to give you my general standard disclaimer, with a little Boston accent right there, of no medical advice, no medical treatment plans, cures, or diagnosis. But of course, we're going to help you find something better, which is the underlying root cause as to what's keeping you in balance or what's keeping you from living your best and healthiest life. All right, Samantha's up first. Let's see what she has to say. Again, I don't do any prep work for this. I'm reading this question for the first time, just like you're hearing it for the first time. Samantha says, "Hi, Dr. Ball. I was hoping you could help me find out what happened to me this morning. While getting ready for work, I felt a prickly heat sensation on my scalp that spread to my face and arms, which turned bright red, like a sunburn, but not raised. It then moved to my legs, and the prickling became so uncomfortable I had to take off my pants. The redness lasted about 30 minutes, slowly faded, and back to normal in 90 minutes. Afterward, I felt cold and started shivering. I had my usual breakfast, nothing out of the ordinary. Just for background, I'm a 47-year-old woman, healthy and active with regular periods, mild hypothyroidism that's managed with diet and supplements. I'm not on any meds or hormone medication, thanks in advance." Yeah, I'm happy to help with this. It's interesting because this could be a multitude of different things. And if you didn't tell me that you were, let's just say, not diagnosed with any disease, I would say that this was a high blood pressure episode. That's really what I would say is that, this person triggered a spike in blood pressure, which can sometimes happen like literally what seems like out of the blue, and it creates almost like a niacin flush. So if you didn't use a new supplement, totally understand, but this is what happens when you take too much vitamin B3 that is not time release, that is not taken flush free. Like we use flush free in our supplements so that people don't get this big flush. But if you've ever done a niacin flush, like 500 milligrams of niacin, yeah, you're going to feel this tingliness that lasts for about 30 to 60 minutes. Very uncomfortable. Some people really like to do it for heart health-based reasons. They'll go in their sauna, a little sadistic if you ask me, but I've done it before and it's intense, but it creates this big histamine-based response. Okay, what can the next thing be? Well, the next reason is probably the most likely, and that is a cholinergic urticaria or histamine-based response. What does this mean? Well, there was a trigger from hot to cold. This can happen with someone that exercises or gets in the shower or a room temperature change. If their body gets a heat response, there's like this vasodilation, there can be a histamine, typically, and technically, if you want to get really technical, it's an acetylcholine triggered histamine response. And when it's systemic, the whole body lights up and becomes flushed, right? So it becomes red, can sometimes be itchy, and it's like this prickly, not pins and needles, but prickly heat and flushing. So that's not uncommon. And then there's the rebound, which is, acetylcholine shrinks back, histamines shrink back, the vasodilation, the blood's not coming, and then the blood moves from the skin to then getting pulled back into the core, and then you get very cold. That's the most likely, that's the Occam's razor of all of this. Now, we don't know what it did it for you. It can be a stress response. It can be drinking red wine. I know you're probably not drinking that for breakfast, right? But it can be anything with a histamine-based response, heat, movement, exercise, hot sauna. Any of these things can cause that. And that's just that cholinergic is what I'm trying to say, urticaria, or just simply, a mast cell activation. The other one that I wanted to share with you just before I move to that next question is, I don't know if you're moving more towards perimenopause, but sometimes there can be intermittent, what are called, again, referred to as hot flashes. But really what it is this hypothalamus trying to regulate body temperature, and it can be an up and down in terms of estrogen. So it's possible, if this continues to happen, there's a great lab test called the menopause and fertility test, or you can run the stress, mood, and metabolism test, and you'll actually start to look at your estrogen, progesterone levels. The menopause and fertility test, that will actually look at, though, something more. It'll look at FSH, follicular stimulating hormone, luteinizing hormone, and then it will look at AMH, which is anti-Mullerian hormone, which actually tells women how close they are moving towards menopause. All right. So if you ever need us, just let us know. Honestly, just ask a question at cabralsupportgroup.com. We'll help you with our labs that you need. We've got an amazing team, just really great people. So just let us know how we can help. All right. Next question is from John. John says, hey doc, hope all is well. I'm 50 years old and have some arthritis and nerve pain in my elbow, probably from overuse between work and hitting the gym and being a weekend warrior. Would like to know your recommendations. I do take your DNS and detox do a detox every 3 months. Thanks. Okay. So 50 years old, some arthritis and nerve pain in my elbows. All right. Well, they're different. So here's what I would say is that we need to solve the nerve pain because that shouldn't be there. The arthritis may be there from a decrease in that anticular cartilage around the joint, right? So we've got our radius and ulnar bones in the forearm, and I don't want to get into epicondyle, and we'll talk about all the different bones in the elbow, and then we've got the humerus in the upper arm, right? So they're coming together, and they're basically covered in a nice rubbery cartilage, and that protects them, right? When that starts to wear down from wear and tear, like you spoke about with, golf or tennis or work, especially if you're doing manual work, that can wear down over time. But again, it can be mitigated. And then the other part is the nerve pain. The nerve pain shouldn't happen. So that's typically an imbalance or an injury. We want to fix that. Like I had ulnar nerve pain entrapment, which was awful and literally not something I had ever worked with. And I got this maybe at I talked about it on the podcast, so I don't know how old I was, but maybe I have no idea how old I was, but it was in my later 30s. And I actually have no idea when that was, but that's the good news, right? I haven't had it in like 10 years. So I couldn't do a tricep press down. I could literally not press my left arm straight. So again, what I always try to do is, who's an expert in this space? How do I figure this out? I didn't know what it was. Went to a great chiropractor around Boston, Massachusetts. If anybody's around Boston, Massachusetts, Dr. Michael Melander, amazing chiropractor there. Not just adjustments, literally works on like head to toe issues that it may be and helps to put your posture back in the position it should be. So yeah, he's like, oh, this is ulnar nerve entrapment. Okay, great. Now we have a diagnosis. What should we do? Here are the exercises. And I found it very helpful to sleep in a sleeve that kept my arm straight overnight. Annoying, yes. Did it take about a week to get into a different sleep routine with my left arm being straight? Yes, that was annoying. But between the rehab, which is called like ulnar nerve entrapment flossing, and the straightened arm, it was gone in maybe 6 weeks to 8 weeks or so. So a lot of different things. In the meantime, great product so daily foundational protocol, level 2. You want your DNS, daily nutritional support, your daily fruit and vegetable blend, your omega-3. All right. Those are crucial. Ideally, the probiotic support in there as well. All right. Those are crucial to help balance inflammation there at that level. I always recommend the immunity protocol, which is the balanced zinc, vitamin D, and then the vitamin C. But there's a product called Inflammasoothe. So Inflammasoothe can be an incredible product, 3 capsules when you need it. And so usually, we want people taking them every day to get the benefit because it's going to take 3 to 6 weeks to really get the main benefit. Take them all at once at breakfast or lunch, or you can take them one at each meal. You can also do 1 to 2 servings in the beginning. This is curcumin, ginger, a patent ingredients like Apre Flex, like an amazing formula guaranteed to work for you. And the last one is you could take 2 proteolytic enzymes upon waking. All right. So I've been answering a little long here in my questions, but hopefully this is helpful. All right. It looks like Bettina is up next. Dear Dr. Cabral, we don't have a water filter yet. I'm curious on your thoughts on the ranges measured for our water in 2024. All right. So Bettina, if you want to see your water measurements for manganese and iron and nitrates and arsenic and nickel, you can go to stephencabral.com/3411. And then she asks, what do you think of the Quooker? I don't know if that's how you pronounce it, but it's Quooker. I only know very little about this product. I try to stay in the know, but I can't know every product, but I know a little bit about this one. Just the part heating water, not all the things it can do. Thanks for your time and thoughts. Okay. So, I think that everyone should have a water filter. You gave me the ranges on the hardness of your water, and I totally get it. Here's the thing. You can go to stephencabral.com/resources. I've got a great water test kit right at home called Tap Score. Definitely check it out. Super easy. Anybody can do it. And I test my water twice a year. But I'll tell you this. You don't know everything else that's in your water. There are over 100,000 man-made chemicals. Many of those can seep into the soil. So when your city municipality tells you, oh no, the water's clean, it's clear, it passed all of our tests, they're running like 300 to 400 contaminants. Okay, 300 to 400 contaminants out of tens of thousands minimum, right? Do they run contaminants with pharmaceuticals? Not usually. My opinion, everybody should use a reverse osmosis filter under their sink, on their counter, or whole house. That's it. Add the minerals back in. Amazing, easy to do. And then if you want, you can take it to the next level and you can run it through a hydrogen ionizer. It's the best water that I can think of. Besides, literally, you can purchase spring water, but spring water also travels on trucks thousands of miles. It gets heated up. And if it's not in a glass bottle, then I certainly don't want all those extra microplastics when it's heated up in the back of a delivery truck, right? So that's what we do. My favorite water is stephencabral.com/hydrogen-water. You can check it out. I share with you all of the labs of it. I share with you research, but I think just in the beginning, everybody should use reverse osmosis. And the items that I like are at stephencabral.com/resources. Those are truly independent. This is what I use in my family, recommend in my practice. The Kyoker, I don't know how you pronounce that, but it's a fun word. It's supposed to be like the end all be all of like tap water. It can heat water. It can cool water. I think it can make sparkling water. But here's the thing, you literally still need to get the contaminants out of it. And so I'm not sure that if you can hook a reverse osmosis up to it, great. Again, I don't know. Does it use induction to heat things that quickly? I don't know. We use a tea kettle in my family. So that's literally what we do, is a stainless steel one that you can set for the exact temperature you want. So if my wife's making green tea, she's going to put it somewhere between 176 to 186 degrees. If I'm doing coffee with it, then I'm going to put mine, just below boiling. So, whatever works for you. That's what we do. I can only share with you, again, what I think are best practices. So hopefully that was helpful. It's at least my subjective thoughts on it. All right, Sarah's up next. Sarah says, hello, I have a few questions which I'll ask in separate questions. I have Piezogenic papules on the inside of both feet. I've had them ever since I was a child. I'm reading online that they are from being overweight, although I've never been. Oh, that's interesting. Yeah, I know what you're saying. I've tried to dry brush them and massage them. I walk a lot and exercise, but nothing seems to help. Is there anything I can do to remove them? And are they a cause for concern? Huge thanks. Yeah, I'm happy to answer this question. So the only reason why I know some of these things is because I've just worked with so many clients. But I haven't worked with a lot of clients with this, but the Piezogenic papules are, yes, typically people do say that they come from being overweight, but it's actually not from being overweight. It is from like excessive pressure and rubbing on the feet in people that are predisposed to it. So that's why they say if you're overweight, you're more likely, because there's more pressure on those areas. So it could definitely happen from, first of all, you have to be predisposed to getting this in the first place, because not everybody's going to get them. Second is that if your sneakers are too tight or you're causing abrasion, like if you're doing tennis and you're lunging side to side or anything like that, then you could possibly get them. If you walk a ton, you could possibly get them. If you're not wearing socks with your sneakers, you could possibly get them. So here's the good news. And again, I can't give you any diagnosis, cures, treatments, or medical advice, but there's usually no cause for concern at all, like literally at all. And so you might not necessarily like how they look, but there's no real cause for concern. And there's no easy way to get rid of them either, because I've given you ways that I've used in the past to help people get rid of warts on their feet. We use the salicylic acid. We then use a pumice stone to gently, once the wart starts to get softer, brush that away every 3 to 4 days. Stick with the salicylic acid. There's also wart oils that you can use with tea tree and other ingredients that you can alternate with the salicylic acid if you chose to, or doing both. And that works really well. I've given you even random things that people anecdotally do, like the banana peel and duct tape method. So I've given you all those. This one, you may get benefit from the same approach as a wart. You may try it, but it's not a wart. So it's a little bit different. It's actually more like a skin tag than a wart, but again, not exactly the same. So what can I share with you? Difficulty, I mean, you can have them removed, of course, by a dermatologist, but you need to be careful because they're your feet. And so you want to be careful, with your feet in general, because you're literally standing on them all the time and you don't want them to get infected. But what I would do is, of course, daily foundational protocol, plus I would use the immunity protocol to balance the immune system. And then I would take 2 capsules of the proteolytic enzymes upon waking to help with fibrin formation. And I would definitely do that. Okay. So Sarah, we got Sarah again. Sarah says, hello again. My next question is about tanning from the sun. I'm very pale and can't seem to ever take a tan on my legs specifically. They are painfully white. They will only go red and then a few dark freckles will appear. My upper body is similar, although it will turn a bit nicer color. Both of my parents can take a tan, so I'm curious why both me and my sister can't. I've heard taking a high dose of astaxanthin as well as beta carotene can help. Do you have thoughts on this? I don't want to do anything unsafe or harmful, although the color of my skin does get me down. Understood. Yeah, I get it, because you want to appear like you have a tan. So I'm going to share with you exactly what's going on here without giving you a diagnosis. So both of your parents can tan and you are not able to. I'll tell you, interesting in my family, both of my parents can tan. My dad probably gets, even darker than myself, where my mom's Italian, my dad's Portuguese. And so I have 4 kids total in my family. Everyone got lighter as it went down the line. Who knows why, right? I mean, I can give you reasons why, but it's interesting, right? So as my family likes to joke, I can tan under a flashlight. Do I anymore? No, but I can get literally really dark. I can get really dark and I don't really burn. So why? I have more melanocytes, right? And so when you don't tan, you have less melanocytes. They're going to produce less color pigment in the skin. Okay. Now, why can both your parents and not you? Because the gene those can be recessive. It doesn't mean that you got those same genetics. And why your legs? This is really fascinating. Because your legs have less melanocytes and they're typically not as dense as the rest of the body. So they don't typically tan as easily. Have you ever noticed that your face or your shoulders, they tan pretty quick. You've got quick absorption. They're literally, the sun is beating down on them and there's almost no body fat there. Excuse me, you've got dry throat. So that's important to remember as well. Now, when you get freckles are sun damage, not melanocytes. So my recommendations for people typically who have difficulty tanning are go slow in the sun. And if you can, you try to get year-round sun, if you're lower hemisphere of the United States. And that you can maximize the melanocytes that you're going to have. All right. The second you asked about supplements, astaxanthin and beta carotene, although amazing, and they can help a little bit from sun burning, they actually give your skin maybe a little bit of an orangey tan pigment, believe it or not. However, they're not giving you, they're not allowing you to tan necessarily better. They're helping so that you don't get sunburned. Although, I've tested this out many times with different people. I don't seem to find that effect, although they can give your skin a little bit of an orangey pigment for sure, beta carotene. If you start drinking a half a liter a day of carrot juice, people turn a little tinge of orange. They really do, like people doing cancer support treatments. But anyway, that's a topic for another show. All right, so what's the answer then? Well, the answer is there are some safe sun tan lotions is not the right way to say it, but there are self-tanning modalities that are made from DHEA and beta carotene that can actually give your skin more of that tan glow. And I recommend looking into those. The cleanest ones you can find at Skin Deep, but you're able to use those. Go slow at first though, or it will look really orangey. But if you go slow and build them up, they'll actually start to look like a real tan. So hopefully that was helpful, Sarah. Thanks so much, everybody, for tuning into the Cabral Concept. As always, we're bringing you a brand new show every single day. All the back shows are at stephencabral.com/podcast. Feel free to type your topic that you're looking for in there. And I'll be back tomorrow with a brand new Mindset and Motivation Monday. Take care, everybody. Have an amazing rest of the weekend. Thanks so much for tuning into today's show. Before you go, don't forget to hit that subscribe button. I want to make sure that you're getting our daily content, not missing out on anything functional medicine, wellness, weight gain, weight loss, anti-aging, living longer, stronger, and all of the most cutting-edge research. And if there's any topics you want to hear, feel free to leave them in the comments below. Take care.